Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 81. Any articles or videos mentioned here can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Look for news recap number 130. Before I get into kind of the summary of the news I'll be going over, I do want to just kind of mention real quick, you may be listening to this podcast later than normal. If you're not or don't know that, don't worry about it. But I do apologize. I had some family issues followed by family commitments, followed by business commitments that just did not allow me to be able to review all the different Star Atlas news from the last week, record the podcast and edit it, so a little bit late, but I thought I still try to get one out because I wrote down things. So anyway, so if you were wondering where it was, just other things became more important and I couldn't get it done on my typical schedule over the weekend. So moving on from that, just to let you know kind of things to talk about. The Atlas Brew this last week had a few different informational things, so I'll go over that. And that was pretty much it for content. So I'll just do a little bit on some of my thoughts on the state of Star Atlas and ever so briefly on my journey. Before I get into that, I do have my two Star Atlas projects I want to mention. One is my Star Atlas merch store. It's called Intergalactic Gear. You can go to intergalacticgear.com. It is officially open for business. However, it's only selling Star Atlas mugs. And I guess I have a couple faction mugs. But anyways, they're mugs, 4 different types. But if you're interested in a mug and you're in the United States, unfortunately, I do not have my configuration yet for other countries down the road. You can take a look at that at intergalacticgear.com. But regardless, if you want to check it out, I'd love you to fill out a merch survey I have there to help me get some feedback on different kinds of items that I can add to the store. I will admit, slowly add to the store, but got a lot of things going on. And then the second one is I am interested in if other Star Atlas gamers, specifically people not joining guilds, would like to get together kind of to have our own community, calling it the Intergalactic Coalition. You can think of it as a non-guild guild. It is an officially registered DAC in the Star Atlas system. So, again, what are they? Distributed autonomous corporations in Star Atlas words. Anyways, basically it's a place for people who aren't going to join a guild, but nevertheless don't kind of find this in the main Star Atlas Discord that interesting. This will be much more about asynchronous conversations, so it's not about chat, it's more about replying back and forth to threads. If you like a thread, you can subscribe to an email and it'll send you a notification when things change, so you can kind of come and go as your schedule fits, hence why I have things going on, and I'm sure you do too. So anyways, I do have an interest survey there. I will mention this will be a paid community. Part of that cost will offset the cost of the software. This is not Discord. So it costs money to host it and send email and other things like that. So if you go to intergalacticcoalition.com, again, there's an interest survey there. Please fill that out if this is something you might find interesting. So let's go ahead and get into the main content section. Like I kind of mentioned, there wasn't really that much this week. The main one was the Star Atlas Brew that came on the traditional Wednesday. So they went through actually a number of different things, partly getting ready for the upcoming Bright Solana conference, which actually now I think about it, as I'm recording this on a Tuesday afternoon Pacific time in the United States. I don't know when in Singapore that is, but it's probably potentially already starting or will be starting shortly. Maybe, I don't remember what day it is. It doesn't really matter. So they mentioned that and went over the schedule for it, which they were more focused on their one day, I think it's called the Summit, which Impact Summit, I don't remember. The one day that Star Atlas is kind of having their own mini conference there and all the different talks that are being given. The cool thing about it was, again, they did say this will be live streamed, but they mentioned about the time zones, but they said they'd be recording it, and I think it was on their YouTube channel. So hopefully next week, assuming I have any time and could get through some of those or listen to other content creators. It sounds like there will be lots of interesting talks about lots of different aspects of Star Atlas. I would assume that a lot of new information is given, so it should be a very, very information-packed conference that they will be sharing with the community. So, but that was actually at the end. At the beginning, they were first talking that the council voting has started as of last Saturday. I can't remember if I think it's just 1 week for this kind of first round. So they also mentioned for the upcoming hackathon, the Nabathon, there were 34 submissions. So that's pretty cool. I think they mentioned before most of them might have been already previous community members, but nevertheless, 34 is a great number of participants regardless of the source. And so I think that was really good. Really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what was created and of course who wins the awards. And I would assume after, actually, hey, that's a good point. I mean, when do they release their things? I don't know. I guess I hadn't thought about that. I mean, it could be a live thing, or it doesn't matter. We'll find out more at the Breakpoint conference. They also mentioned, because on Wednesday, this was, I think, the day before, the new part of the how to use your crew cards in Sage was going to go live. So basically, the current software can't handle crew because it was designed before they existed. So Star Atlas was going to take all your fleets, disband them automatically, bring all your ships back to the Central Space Station. So basically, and then redo the software so that then crew can be added so that ships and crew can actually be joined together into the fleets. So given the time frame and my just reading through the announcements in the Star Atlas Discord, I had to just mark as read the entire thing. I was just days and days behind, so there was no way to read, and I didn't have time. So it sounds like it happened, a few bugs, but then those bugs were fixed. So given that there weren't any new comments in the announcement channels in the Discord, I assume all the bugs have been fixed, and now ships and crews in Sage is functioning. So I guess we'll wait and see if I am guessing by the lack of announcements. And then the final thing they mentioned and introduced, and the person talked, was apparently a new marketing employee. Not sure if they mentioned her title. Maybe they did, but definitely a marketing person. Was on the brew, gave a quick little introduction, and I guess we'd say briefly talked about marketing. Michael Wagner, CEO, was there too, and he kind of mentioned again that this effort, I think she was hired over a month ago, actually. But this is the first announcement and speaking at an event, that this is sort of building to the idea that, again, they need to do more traditional marketing to bring in more mainstream audiences outside the crypto and, crypto Twitter space. So again, I think that's a great development. I know I'm a little biased because I'm a marketing person on my own digital marketing agency. So, I have passion for marketing concepts, though my marketing is helping small businesses, not large gaming companies, market to the entire world. So, but nevertheless, I think it shows that the team has definitely weathered all the layoffs and survived, and we don't talk about cash flow anymore or runway or whatever, and that they're adding more key pieces into key traditional departments within a business. So a marketing employee is never going to be not a good move forward for a business to have marketing, because I want businesses to hire me to do their marketing. So anyways, so that's pretty much it. So in some sense, it was a very full Atlas brew, but a lot of different topics, and definitely a lot of not even teasing this time, but just saying, hey, wait till the Breakpoint Summit thing coming and all the information's there. So anyways, that was pretty much it. So I'll move on to kind of my state of Star Atlas. And actually there wasn't that many content creators posting things. Afia did their weekly newsletter, Metaverse Nomads did their weekly live stream. And I'm not saying they weren't interesting, but they didn't trigger a bullet point for me to talk about, but did have a couple things. One, Beyond the Horizon did a video on crew aptitudes. And I think it was a great video. It was both synthesizing what's out there and kind of his thoughts on the future. So I like that. But I have to admit, I was kind of confused, not with his video, but with the concept of crew and aptitudes and Sage, because in the short term, it only sounds like crew. Well, they put the crew in for this thing, but again, I don't think aptitudes related to it. So part of it is just confusion about when we'll ever see aptitudes. And again, I would assume, hopefully we'll hear something at the upcoming conference, but part of it more was Fleet Command and the idea that Sage, the web browser, is going away, and Fleet Command, some sort of version of the game inside of Unreal Engine's coming. So and they did say that future features will come to both products, but it kind of felt like, well, let's say hypothetically we're going to have combat and you're going to build it. Well, wouldn't you just build it for the new Fleet Command? Why would you ever build it for the old web browser, knowing you're for sure going to get rid of the web browser? So anyways, where I'm going with all this is that the video from Beyond Horizon was talking about aptitude specific rated to Sage. Well, Sage is going away. Now, one benefit of recording this video a little later, I commented on Beyond the Horizon's video, and he actually brought up a point that I did not maybe put two and two together, and I think it's very valid, which is Fleet Command could be Sage. what does that actually mean? And again, this is, I think, just part of the problem that the product roadmap for Star Atlas is always a moving target. But Sage is not necessarily the web browser. That's Labs and maybe Starbase. I'm not sure. But anyways, Sage, which I forget what it stands for, but anyways, is more of a product type or product concept. So it could be implemented in a web browser, or it could be implemented in Unreal Engine as Fleet Command. And that was kind of a light bulb moment. So aptitudes that could exist within Sage and aptitudes that can exist within Unreal Engine. No, not going to say it that way. Aptitudes that can exist within the showroom could both still occur in the future. Okay, I really mangled that. We use Unreal Engine a little interchangeably. So again, it would be nice if we as a community had better terms. And I got even into something where somebody said, well, Starbase is Sage Labs. And I'm like, okay, fine. I don't. Everybody calls it Starbase. But anyway, so I think we're in this kind of weird flux of product types and game styles. So what I'm interpreting beyond the Horizons comment was, in the future, there will be a immersive first-person / third-person view of your character, of your crew, and your ship. And that will be the extension of what we currently have, which is the showroom, where you can see your ship, you can get into your ship, you can look around your ship, or you can get into your character and do something with your character. The Surge gameplay is probably the thing. So whatever that thingy is, that's not Sage. Sage is a top-down look from a strategic point of view. Maybe real-time strategy, whatever. But it's changing how it's presented from a web browser to Unreal Engine. So I think those two are the differences, and Fleet Command is just a part of the Sage. So assuming all that's correct and true, then it's fine. In other words, aptitudes will eventually be coming to Sage, and aptitudes will eventually come into the showroom, regardless of the game engine they're using. So at the end, though, we'll see and have to wait and see. However, as of right now, and Beyond the Horizon mentioned this too, there is no way to level up your crew because we don't have a mobile app. So kind of crew aptitudes to me, again, are like in the future. And unfortunately, in the future is who knows. So again, I guess at the end of the day, now that we're a few weeks out from the crew launch and the unopening and all that, it does seem that crew and definitely aptitudes are kind of more like ships were at the beginning, which again, I wasn't really at the first, the posters and then the actual GAL global asset offering when the first ships came on the market and they were for sale. I'm kind of thinking if we look at both those, are pretty much the same, that something happened, they came out, you can buy them, but really what you could do with them was pretty limited. And so, yes, you can trade crew on Tensor, you can put your crew into Sage Lab Starbase, but in reality, that's pretty much it. So I guess at the end, this is all kind of something for the distant future, which will probably change from what we've been presently told. Again, looking at ships as the example, would be shocking to see if crew has that same thing. And only the reason I bring this up is because the mobile app had been talked about all year long, and it, of course, doesn't exist too. So, again, the Breakpoint Conference, Summit Conference, whatever you're calling it, Star Atlas, this thing, may change all this, kind of a new roadmap, new prioritization, things like that. So, again, all this in a week could be moot because we get the next thing, which is fine. But present being similar to the past, crew aptitudes, interesting, but again, we barely have crew. Who knows when we're going to get aptitudes. So we'll see. Moving on. Next topic, cancel voting. So I've mentioned this in the last couple things, and it was kind of reconfirmed at the Atlas Brew that because the voting started and it was mentioned, hey, go out and spend your PvP, that, yeah, voting is dependent upon your PvP. So again, maybe I'm being a little too whatever, but if it truly is your PvP Polis voting power, the whales will just vote themselves in. So, and again, it's not that they're gaming the system. it's not based on single vote for single person. It's based on your PvP. And if you have a lot of posts and you locked it for a long time, you have a lot of post voting power, and you also nominated yourself because it was self-nominations, I would be shocked that you don't vote for yourself. I mean, there's something that you're voting for yourself. So I'll be interested to see the results. But as far as from a small gamer, and I guess I continue to think of myself as a small gamer, even though I have a few ships and a few crew, I don't feel like I have any voice in this election. So whatever. Again, that is very cynical, but that to me is what it seems like. And again, this may be how it's set up. This may be how DAOs work. Whether you have PvP or not, you still have to own Polis. That makes perfect sense in a governance token. But if it's dependent upon the amount of Polis you hold one way or another, then if you hold a lot of Polis, you have a lot of power. So there it is. So again, I think it will be interesting to see. They kind of talked about maybe there'll be debates after the conference, because I think then the second voting occurs. That might be kind of interesting. But again, it's just really hard to get in much interested in this one. It really, well, you really don't have much input if you don't have a lot of Polis. So anyways, not to be a downer, but again, I want to play a game and fly my ship around, and I'm not really interested in the political aspects of a video game. Now, I'm glad it's there, just not interested. So, and, I think I already mentioned that, yeah, the crew in Sage happened, and there were a few bugs, and they worked it out. So that's pretty much on my kind of thoughts of the last week on the state of Star Atlas. My journey, not shockingly, since I had all these unexpected things come up, I did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I haven't done anything this week and don't think I will anyways with all the things. So I'll leave it at that. So again, thanks for listening. Always open for, if anybody's interested in being a podcast guest, it could be a community member, it could be another content creator, it could be a Star Atlas builder. Team members, obviously, always welcome to that. So please go to intergalacticherald.com, go to my contact page, and just fill out a form there. And then just again, self-promotion, if you're interested in any Star Atlas mugs or future merch, please, Star Atlas merch, please go to intergalacticgear.com. You can buy a mug, or you can fill out my merch survey. And if you want to hang out with me and other Star Atlas gamers who are not joining guilds and don't want to hang out on the Star Atlas Discord, but nevertheless want to come and go and maybe engage in some threaded discussions about Star Atlas, please go to intergalacticcoalition.com and fill out the interest survey. So that's pretty much it for half a week or whatever it is when you listen to this. This is Matt with Intergalactic Herald. Have a great week ahead.